It's one game back for Jalen Green, so it's time to have the conversation we've all been waiting to have. Green, Edgecombe, who's better? We're getting into it now.
Psychos and sickos unite for an elite edition of PHNX Suns, of course, presented by Bet365. Download Bet365 app, use code PHNX365, deposit 10, place a bet for Vibe and get $200 in bonus bets. I'm Erik, that's Steven, we got Espo and the Freckled Mamba behind the Mac making all of the magic happen, but of course none of the magic happens without all of you in chat, including Russell, who says vibes are the highest since the finals team, and Jalen Green looked like the player Booker has needed to have next to him his whole career. We'll be talking about Jalen Green's debut a little bit more in detail here to start off the show, and then we'll just be having a conversation about hypothetically where could this backcourt end up among the best in the league, and we'll end the show with a little hoop grid fun, but the vibes have been high. Espo, we're all feeling pretty good about Jalen Green's debut.
We're doing hoop grid. Are you guys ducking me on auto? Is that what?
That's a Freckled Mamba choice. I leave it up to Freckled Mamba.
Yeah, ducking is a conundrum, so no.
So, yesterday's was an unbelievable start to Jalen Green's Phoenix Suns career. I think second best debut in Suns history. He looked spectacular, played well, brought the energy, did bring that vibe. Yeah, there's that word again. That swagger that I don't think we have seen for a while. Devin Booker was having fun playing alongside him. The offense found its rhythm, especially in the third quarter. Great night. I did mention second best because I looked it up, and 33 years ago to the day today, Charles Barkley made his debut, 37 points, 21 rebounds, 12 of them offensive, 8 assists, and he shot 69%. So,
but did he hit threes?
As much as I love Jalen's performance, I think you got to say Chuck's was the number one debut performance, but unbelievable by Jalen, and crazy that it happened almost 33 years to the day.
Yeah, that's some fun information to have. Doesn't take away from Jalen's debut, but it was a fun one, and I think bringing up Charles in any capacity, if you're aligned with him, you're doing something good. I would challenge Russell though. Are the vibes higher than when Kevin Durant first came to the team and they won those first handful of games, and you had it was him and CP with Devin and everybody else that was on that roster?
Yeah, but the ankle injury when he was supposed to make his debut killed those
Little
initial
damper.
vibes because you thought he was coming back that game.
sure.
So I think I get both sides of it.
For sure.
Wait, Kevin Durant was on the Suns?
Yeah, that's
I
how
just
how we
completely
got
blocked out.
Jalen Green.
I completely blocked out the last couple of years. I've only come to for this season. I will say, it was maybe not as high of a peak of, wow, we're going to be as good as we thought we could be when Kevin Durant came over here. And there was, of course, all the high-end veteran talent.
Mm-hmm.
But it did feel more fun, right? I think we were all more excited about the immediate, success of the team when KD came here and was playing well, and then especially during that playoff run where we saw Devin Booker reach heights that we had never seen him hit before in the playoffs, and it just felt like, okay, get a couple more pieces, fill out your bench, and you're going to be fine. I think for championship aspirations and hopes, yes, but for like the actual vibe surrounding the team, the 21 finals run, and you and I talked about it last night, Espo, it wasn't just the fact that they were good on the court. It's that when you saw them play, they all looked legitimately close to each other. And obviously, we're all spectators, right? Steven less so than all of us because he's actually at practices. But at the end of the day, like, you can tell by body language on the court and how they interact with each other and how they celebrate each other's wins and what they're doing on the bench. Like, it's not just two people who are in the situation who know, like, hey, these guys are close. Sometimes you can tell. Last night, it felt like we saw a team that was close. And I think it has been the first time since that finals run that I felt that way.
Well, and Jalen's undoubtedly a different kind of player than 35 was in terms of the way he shows his energy, the way he goes about his business. And that's fine. Guys have different personalities, but I think what Jalen does is bring an energy and a passion that connects with the fan base, because this is a team in a town that really does feed off that kind of energy. We know that, I don't like the term front runners, but when a team's fun, when they bring the energy, when they try to get the crowd in it, Phoenix responds at a much better way than they do with other guys. I think that's part of it. And then, like we talked about last night, I think Devin Booker is he feeds off of the guy's energy that's around him, and not in a bad way. I just think I think I called it empathetic basketball player, where he definitely pulls in that energy from other guys, and that energy that Jalen Green brings is infectious for that team.
Speaking of energy, Jalen Green did speak on the fans and the environment at the Morgue last night.
It's great energy, like I said. We got great fans. It's amazing. Even when I wasn't part of this team, I always thought the fans were lit here. Everyone pulling up every game and, cheering the team on and just being so active. That's very, very lit, and I love it.
Very lit.
Very lit.
Very lit.
The most lit.
We got to put that on the quote graphic. But, I mean, you can put Jalen Green anywhere. He's going to do certain things with a certain type of kind of like pyrotechnics, if you will. It's going to have a certain it factor to it that's going to draw attention. And obviously when he's making shots, especially to the extent that he was yesterday, it's going to have people on the edge like, what is he going to do next? There's a couple of times where he was just casually bringing it up the court against some pressure. He goes between the legs twice and everybody's in the crowd like, oh, like he didn't really like make anybody fall or stumble or anything, but there's a kind of gamesmanship, a showmanship to his game that it engages and entices the crowd in a different way.
Yeah, he's a smiling assassin out there. He's got that big smile, but he's going to shank the opponent when he gets the chance. And I think that's the kind of guy that Suns fans gravitate towards, love. Devin's got a little bit of that too, and I think that's why they resonate so well with him.
Yeah, I think it's exciting because every time he runs down the court, I'm on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, "Ooh, get Jalen the ball! Ooh, get Jalen the ball!" And look, has he been the best player over his 4 seasons in the NBA? No, but has he had probably a top 5 highlight reel over that time? Yeah. Probably, yeah. And you're going to get a lot of those moments, and we've seen. I mean, this is a team that they're 4-1. At home so far this season. That's all of their wins. The crowd definitely gets behind the team when they're going, and Jalen Green can get a crowd going just as good as anybody in the league. It was also nice on Jalen's perspective, not just to play in front of the crowd, but to share the court with Devin Booker. This is what he had to say about their pairing for the first time.
It was good. you know, we got a little vibe in training camp before the injury. Off the court, it's a great vibe. On the court, I mean, it's even better. It's a lot of space out there. We're able to build off each other, talking the whole game. You know, he's a veteran guard. He's been there before, done it before. So I'm learning everything I can from him while out there trying to help him win. So it's been good.
How much different is it to play with him than play against him?
Very different. Very different. I mean, you step on the floor, it's always a competitive thing to go at one another. I'm just happy he's on my side now. So yeah.
Is real quick before we dive more into that. Spacing was one of the words that he mentioned in his answer. He was also followed up on about the space.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like our offense just has a lot of space, and it allows us to get up a lot of threes and allows us to play fast. Those are two things that I love to do. So, yeah, I was watching the film. We broke it down, you know, sitting with the coaches, breaking down film and stuff like that, and everything worked out. So just got to keep building.
Can you remember any stage in Houston when you played with that much room before, that much space?
Next question.
I love the answer without an answer.
Mhm.
That's a smart way to handle a press conference. You know exactly what he's thinking about the spacing in Houston, and he did not have to throw anybody under the bus because the spacing in Houston sucked compared to what he had last night, and you could tell he was feeding off of it, taking advantage of it, and so were his teammates with what he was able to create for them.
Yeah, Space City did not have much space.
That's good.
That's yeah. They gotta get that part figured out because they're still dealing with some of those issues now, even after the trade. But that's not our business to speak to. Just speaking to what he came from, what still persists there, and what he's reaping the benefits of in a new situation. This is why I said we might see the best version of Jalen Green on immediate kind of relocation, his first opportunity. And I don't feel like last night what we saw was just by happenstance. I feel like that's something that can sustain in multiple capacities because he's just not going to be having to deal with so many other bodies when he's looking at the basket.
Now that some time has passed, Steven, I know that you've got a film session that's going to be in the works for the people out here soon enough.
Mhm.
What was it about the approach and the process and how they got the most out of Jalen Green that you think can be replicated as they continue through the rest of the season?
Some of it is personnel. So context-wise, when I mentioned it with Jalen and the Suns compared to what he was with before, he didn't have a Devin Booker. He didn't have a Grayson Allen. Didn't have a Royce O'Neal. Didn't have a Colin Gillespie. He didn't have these pieces. He didn't have a Mark Williams. You don't think about him as a spacer, but vertically, up and down in terms of height, he presents that with a lob opportunity that you can see over a defense. So he didn't have all of these depths and different versions of versatility within his usage last season. In tandem with that, their offense is not even close to what it is with the Suns. Past just the personnel, talked about guys moving around as things are happening and it being intentional with the timing. That makes it hard for a defense to double team or show attention on someone else because there's a price to pay. And you look at the starting lineup shift yesterday, I imagine some of it, Jordan Knott didn't mention it directly, but I imagine some of it is, okay, we have Jalen Green. He's going to be wanting to get downhill. Let's put as much space around him as we can so that he can play to his strengths, feel good about himself early, and we can build and stack off of that. We saw the benefits of it yesterday, and I think that's something, again, independent of him putting the ball in a basket, the opportunities will be there undeterred because of the personnel and the context of play.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to be the biggest thing for me is how replicable is the three-point shooting over time. He's obviously not going to shoot as well as night one, but is it higher than that 34% that we've seen over his career simply because he's going to get better looks along the way? So how does that play out? And even he showed the midi yesterday a little bit. How does that continue to grow? Because we know he's going to get to the bucket. We know he's going to get to the free throw line. We know he's going to be able to find his teammates in this offense. If he can hit those shots at a high clip, that game over. Like, this becomes a much better team than anybody could have imagined this year because he's unlocked a whole nother level.
Well, I also think, with your mentioning of people moving around, I think just the ball movement on this team overall is an emphasis. And I think Jalen fit into that really well. In his debut, obviously, he shot the ball a good amount of times for the amount of minutes he played, but I never felt like he wasn't making the reads and the decisions that he needed to. Dump off passes to Mark Williams, swinging around the perimeter. I felt like he wasn't taking bad shots, and he was passing when he didn't have a great shot. And sometimes that leads to buckets that you're like, man, I wish Devin Booker or Jalen Green took that shot. And sometimes it ends up with Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen taking a wide open three. I like how he fit into the offense, and I like how he let things come to him. If he needed to take a step back and he felt good, he did, and he hit it. But if he's driving and he doesn't have a lane, he dumped it off to Mark Williams. This is the decision making that we felt like held Jalen Green back a little bit in Houston. But like you mentioned, with context, was it Jalen Green not making the right decisions, or was it the offense not being, forced to be making the right decisions, as in go do something versus this is what we're going to do? So I'm excited to see what he can do, and excited what him and Devin Booker can do as a tandem.
Who benefits the most, though, from Jalen Green being on the court in this offense in your mind? When you look at, obviously, just one game, but moving forward, who's the guy that you think benefits the most out of it?
I'll start with Jalen Green himself.
That is a great place to start.
But if I'm going outside of him, I think naturally it's Devin Booker.
Yeah.
And I think it's less about when they're on the court together, which we'll have more to speak about as the sample size grows. But from last night, we saw it. You get to a fourth quarter stretch where Devin's not on the court. At times, if they're not scoring off of the initial actions that they're running, Collins got to put his cape on at the end of the clock. Grayson's had to put his cape on at the end of the clock a couple of times. Early in the season, we saw it was Dylan Brooks. That's not the most sustainable way if a defense does defend your actions well. If you have someone like Jalen Green, who at worst can just go get a paint touch, if not outright go and score in some capacity, it is different for your team in terms of lineups, in terms of your game flow, and just being able to stay at a certain level of play. But other two things real quick for me with Jalen. The pace the Suns play at is very, very different from what Houston did. Houston gets into the half court very slow, shot clock ticking, defense is set. The Suns, the defense is wide open because they're playing so quickly and early in the clock. And then the last one for me is him on the second side. So if he's on the court with Devin Booker, if he's opposite of where primary action is happening and it kicks to him, a defense is rotating to him, he hasn't seen much of that in his career, let alone with Houston the last 2 seasons when he's been at his best. So I think that's why he'll be the best version of himself here.
And we've never seen a guy like Jalen Green next to Devin Booker. I'm not saying he's the best player that's ever been next to Book, but certainly he's different than anybody else that Book has been alongside his entire career. Just how good can they be? Where could they end up among the NBA's best backcourts? I know it's only been one game, but we're going to talk about it anyway, and we'll do it after our first break. I'm very high on Jalen Green, and you can be very high on Pure Edibles, but they're not like all their competitors for a variety of reasons. Yes, of course, they taste delicious, and they don't taste like weed coated in sugar. They just taste like candy. Gummies, Kicks, which is their version of Starburst, Chews, and of course, hard candies as well. What also sets them apart from the crowd is you look at the tin, it's not just labeled indica, sativa, hybrid. It's listed as relaxed, sleepy, uplifted, balanced. It tells you how you're going to feel, which when it comes to edibles, especially those who are trying them out for the first time, is really important so you don't get caught off guard.
Do they have the Jalen Green? I want that energy.
Well, maybe, but if Jalen needs some help with his pregame nap, he could tap in with the sleepy gummies over at Pure Edibles. Plus, they have a new collab with Tower Station IPA. It's all in one, an IPA with a THC twist. So make sure you stop by and get yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona.
Got to tell you about Branded Bills. I wear it every show. I have it on the desk during Southwest Bias. They are our favorite hat company around here because they're local. Started in Mesa. They're in Tempe now. And they have deals with the Suns, with ASU, with U of A, with GCU. If you've got a team that you love, they've got a hat for you. But it's not just the teams you love. If your company's looking for custom headwear or apparel, they got you covered there as well. And I got to tell you, the quality is unbelievable. I am a hat fiend. I have 70 plus hats. You can ask my wife when she's in the chat. It takes up a quarter of our closet. And more of them are becoming Branded Bills because they're breathable, they're good looking, and super easy to clean, which not all hats are. And you got to take care of your hat. So I highly recommend you get a hat or custom apparel with our friends at Branded Bills. And if you use the promo code BBPHNX, you can get 15% off your first order.
Ooh, and also if you want your daily Arizona sports information delivered to your inbox for free, make sure you sign up for our newsletter. Of course, we absolutely appreciate everything that Pat Brown did with the newsletter. He killed it. We now have Alex D'Agostino, who is going to be running it. He's been doing an amazing job doing some post-game articles on the Arizona Cardinals. Now he'll be bringing the biggest news in Arizona sports to your inbox daily at 6 a.m. It's completely free. It is not an amalgamation of links. It is actual, unique, well-thought-out writing that covers all sports here in the Valley. Once again, it's free. So go phnx.com/newsletter and become the smartest sports fan that you know. And do it today because guess what? In case you didn't hear, it's free.
Yeah, and it's great to wake up at 6 in the morning or earlier if you're Steven, top of the top, and get everything that you need to know right there. It's that easy.
Yeah, one time for Pat.
Yep. Pat.
We love Pat.
Pat was great running that for a year, and he's off doing some other things now. Love him. Alex is a great young writer, though. Fantastic and excited to see what he brings to the table as well.
It's like Michael Jordan handing the baton to LeBron, right? It's like they're two goats, both writing the newsletter for
Ayrton
PHNX
said,
Sports.
"How in the world did you just skip Kobe?" I literally heard him.
I don't care what Ayrton said.
I heard him.
Yeah.
I don't care what he said.
Jordan didn't hand the baton to nobody. Let's make that clear.
That part too.
Jordan still has that thing in his house. Pretty sure he just showed Mike Tirico it. So
Just try to compliment both of them. It's okay though, folks.
I did not mean to do that.
All right. Let's
get good at that.
Let's talk about backcourts in the NBA. If I were to ask everybody here, including chat, who's the best backcourt in the NBA right now? What would your answer be?
Right now, at this moment, Luka and Reeves.
I mean, talent for talent, it's hard to beat that tandem.
Yeah.
If we're talking about proof of concept, what Oklahoma City just did last season, I guess it's up for debate and conversation on who actually is in their backcourt. But you got J-Dub doing what he was doing when Shea started getting double teams, and Shea started getting double teams because he turned into the best player in the league on the playoff stage. Hard to beat that.
I think it says a lot when you go, who is even their backcourt, and they're that good.
Yeah.
No matter who you put in
For sure.
there, I think that says a lot about them. They're in my top echelon too. I think it's like 3 tiers essentially.
I think it's interesting. There are a lot of backcourts that have one high level player. I think OKC, obviously. I don't consider J-Dub a forward or a guard. I consider him more of a forward for them.
I hear you.
You look at like Isaiah Joe, you look at Lou Dort. I mean, they don't really have a true 2 guard because I think with Shea, he just kind of covers both, and you just need some 3-point shot making
really
around him
good
and some creation.
basketball player.
He's a great basketball
What position
player.
is he's a basketball
Yeah, he's a
player.
basketball player.
Correct.
I think Luka and Reeves right now is the answer. And I hate that, and it makes me sick to my stomach. But what Austin Reeves did when Luka was out and what they can do while they're together, I mean, Luka's averaging like 40 points per game, right? He's really the high-level guy that has a clear guard next to him that I feel like they are cemented in that number 1 spot. I think if you're looking at another combination of 2 crystal clear guards, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are definitely up there. Would you consider them just, if we're taking the Thunder out of it, because I don't see that second guard as a clearly, like, obviously they're the best team and they probably have the best guard in the NBA, but the second guard I'm not sure about. Is Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland the second best backcourt in the league?
I have a rebuttal for the conversation. So if we're talking about best backcourt in the league and we're talking about guys' comprehensive games and not just the scoring dynamic or the offensive side alone, comprehensively, if we're talking about tandems that are at the top and Mikal Bridges is now playing at 2 for the New York Knicks, he's the best defender of any of the top tier tandems of guards. You put that in tandem with everything that Jalen Brunson was last season, clutch player of the year, one of the 3 best players on the playoff stage, though they didn't make it to the finals, largely was because they went up against someone that was one of the best players in the playoffs. that's a hard tandem to say that. I think this tandem is better because we just haven't seen other tandems do that to the extent that they did just last season.
I have that on my list too. Like I said, I think it's a tier. Like you're really splitting hairs when you start to look at this. I think it's Luka and Reeves, Mitchell and Garland, Shea and whoever you want to put next to him, Brunson and Bridges, and then I think Cunningham and Ivy are in that conversation now. And then I think there's a whole nother tier after that. I think it takes a step down, and you're looking at the Suggs and Baines, the Murray and Braun, the Maxey and Edgecombe, the Steph and Podziemski, and then I think there's another tier that's slightly under that where you've got the Edwards and DiVincenzo and that next layer of group that are there. I think it's so tough to put numbers and try to do this because the talent is just so slight there. I think you got to look at it in groupings.
What?
Where are BJ Edgecombe and
It's different when you're talking about currently versus young, and like if you're basing it off of like young backcourts and future
including
backcourts.
anything from this season, I think that heavily matters.
I think right now Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe are. I mean, Tyrese Maxey is one of the best guards in the league right now. Period. Like that is right now. VJ has been really good for a rookie, averaging like 15 points per game. I think he has all the intangibles. I think we're looking at them being a top 5 backcourt over the next couple of years. I'd say right now they're probably still somewhere in the top 10 simply because Maxey has been so good and Edgecombe automatically just came into the league at a baseline level that when you're looking at complementary duos, they're certainly up there. But if you look at Brunson and Bridges, I'll put Brunson and Bridges ahead of them. I think Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland is so interesting because we talk about availability, right? And that is certainly something that Darius Garland has struggled with. And we've seen that combination hit really high highs in the regular season. And then once you get to the postseason, I don't think Garland's been put in the best position coming back from injuries and whatnot, but hasn't led to that much success as a tandem. Would you rather right now have Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland or Devin Booker and Jalen Green?
Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland because they've done it and have done it. I don't care if it's just the regular season. They've won together. So,
yeah, I think it's hard to compare Jalen and Devin to those two because those two have been together. I think this is year 3 or 4 of their tandem. And it's come with depths of success on the playoff stage. Now, you can debate about what that ceiling is for them, but they've shown to have been able to do it in first-round series multiple times. Most recent first-round series being one of the most historic in terms of offensive rating, largely because of those two. So it's tough. I'll side with them just because we actually have something to gauge it off of outside of 32-ish minutes that they spent together yesterday.
I mean, yeah, this conversation is going to be a lot of, guessing as far as what they could be. I think when you look at this combination, you saw what they did last night, how they complement each other, the athletic versus kind of the more, slowed down version of what Devin Booker is, but he's still a bucket. Hoping that maybe Jalen Green can get a little bit better, maybe just be more consistent over that span of hopefully 30 to 35 minutes a game instead of 23 minutes that he played last night. Again, I think if you're asking me from a Phoenix Suns perspective, which maybe puts a little bit of a different twist on this, if I could just take the Cavs backcourt and swap them with the Suns backcourt, even just taking allegiances to Devin Booker aside, I don't think I'd do it. And not that maybe on paper those two aren't a better backcourt, but I think for what Devin Booker and Jalen Green could be and what they could be for now the long term going forward, I would not swap backcourts with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I think, to your point, we've seen 32 minutes of Devin Booker and Jalen Green. Now, if you extrapolate and just assume everything's going to be the same, yeah, I would take those two over almost anybody on this list. That's the tough thing. Are we supposed to ignore the past and just look at what from this point moving forward? Who would you want? I think you could make the argument where I'd want Devin Booker and Jalen Green if I'm not thinking about what we've seen accomplished and what we just think might be accomplished. But I'm always going to lean towards history and the data that we have that you can base something off of. Now, I think Jalen Green and Devin Booker right now, even with just 32 minutes, are in that second tier for me automatically already, just based on pure talent and what we saw in one game. So that's with the Suggs and Baines, Jamal Murray and Braun, Maxey and Edgecombe, Steph and Podziemski. I think they're in that group. Can they take a step and wind up in that top group? Yeah, I think that they have that ability, and the fact that Jalen's sitting there at 23, and I don't think has fully formed his game.
Nah.
That adds a lot to the equation as well. Because if he can continue to grow, and you've got Devin Booker in his prime, that makes the equation and the chance that they wind up in that top 5 upper echelon pretty high in my mind. But there's a lot of question marks still.
Yeah, you mentioned the history part. I mentioned the Cavaliers' first round offensive rating probably 15 times since Jordan Ott came to the Suns. And I think that Jordan Ott part in it is important because what he did at the helm of an offense with that group, we saw them be the best version of themselves both on the regular season stage and through that first round. I imagine he has maybe not copy and paste because they're two very different players than the two in Cleveland are. But in terms of success, there's buttons he can press. There's levers he can pull to get the most out of those two, both in tandem with each other and the almost shapeshift. Offense looks one way when Devin's on the court alone, and it looks different when Jalen's on alone versus when they're both on the court. If you can shapeshift like that, that's what the best offenses have. And I think that part is important to note with Jordan not being involved with this, because if they hit that type of ascension, that's a lot to deal with, especially in the Western Conference.
It's such a damn good point, too, because that is such an important part of a whole thought experiment is, yeah, you could just pluck 2 guys out of anywhere and drop them somewhere,
Yep.
but we saw how that could work in Phoenix when you pluck them in there and you put them with the wrong coach and the wrong system, and then it makes no sense. This is a perfect storm that I think we're seeing right now. But if you plucked Mitchell and Garland, they've worked with Ott before too, so that adds a whole different layer to it as well.
Yeah, I think when you're having this conversation about what Devin Booker and Jalen Green could be, it remains is, can Devin Booker continue to play like he did at the beginning of the season and even up his game from what we've seen over the last couple of years, which I think all of us agree that he can. And then just how good can Jalen Green be? Because you look at a lot of these backcourt combinations that we'll talk about more after this upcoming break here, but a lot of them are one star, one superstar, and then another good player, another starter, right? So like an Anthony Edwards is the best shooting guard in the league right now, or has been the last couple of years. Maybe Book is going to snatch that mantle back with how he's been playing this year. Maybe you throw Donovan Mitchell in there. But Anthony Edwards, by a lot of people in a national perspective, is the best shooting guard, if not the best young shooting guard in the league. His backcourt running mate is Dante DiVincenzo. Steph Curry, Brandon Podziemski, right? There's Shea, Lou Dort. And I love Lou Dort. I'm an ASU guy. But still, it's like, okay, there's not that secondary one. James Harden is still one of the best guards in the league. Backcourt mate is Bradley Beal. So can they be a point where it's Devin Booker and if Jalen Green raises his floor and gets to the point that you believe that he can get to, I'm coming around to believing more and more, like now that we are in this system and seeing the coaching staff and the roster around him, that's really what elevates this, because I think Darius Garland is a great player, but I just think that his attributes and his size put some certain limitations on what he can do, especially defensively. 6'4" and 6'5" for Book and Green, the athleticism side of it as well. I think that also just kind of brings up the floor a little bit. And if we're splitting hairs here, I do like what Green and Booker bring from like a prototype perspective.
Yeah, let's not act like Green and Booker have been all-world defensive guys, though. They have their own.
They haven't.
They have their own flaws, and height isn't the only thing that comes into play with that, or size. That's, to your point, why Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges are an interesting argument in this, because they add both dynamics, offense and defense. And I think
Brunson gets attacked.
No,
in playoff series, they run plays
but
every
the
time.
I think it's but for Brunson, like, it's less about just because a guy is being targeted, if he's their pigeon, if he's their Waldo, I call him, it's not always that he's not a good defender. It's also that sometimes you just want to involve a guy in action. Like Steph Curry's not a bad defender. He's probably one of the more average defenders. He might be slightly above average depending on how you value steals. He just gets involved because they want to eat away at his legs so he can't be the engine of the offense on the other end. So I don't think Jalen is a bad defender. I think Darius Garland is not the best defender, though. And I think there's a difference between him getting attacked versus Steph or Jalen Brunson.
I think Garland's one of the worst perimeter defenders.
I mean,
the
the advanced metrics suggested, and I think the eye test passed that suggestion as well. So no slight to him, but everybody has a weakness, and his happens to be one that's more exploitable than Jalen or Steph in that sense.
I just think it's real easy to get caught up on the offensive side of the ball, especially
100%.
when you're talking about about guards and potential, but yeah, you got to look at both sides, and I think Book and Green have some work to do on the defensive end to prove that they're good enough on that end to be an elite duo as well.
Question though, real quick, you can just say yes or no. Ayrton, you can chime in too. Should Kevin Durant and Amen Thompson be considered? Their starting lineup is KD playing the 2 or the 3 because he's not playing the 4.
I mean, yes,
Sure.
by definition. That's the other problem.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Basketball,
I'm just throwing it out. If we're looking at it
yeah.
comprehensively, and you look at KD being still one of the no worse than 12 best players, one of the 7 or 8 best offensive talents, Amen Thompson's defense speaks for itself, and he's still rising on the defensive end and on the offensive end. I'm just throwing it out there just for conversation purposes.
I would say yes. You have to consider him this year. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing guard, but we know, like, he's a forward, right? But again, it's positionless basketball. I do have a couple other backcourts that I want to throw into this conversation. We'll do that. Plus, we'll get into a little hoop grid fun to end a Friday. Reminder, will we also be back tomorrow for a pre- and post-game show as it's Suns-Clippers round 3. This time, we expect the Clippers to be healthy, so it'll be interesting to see what this duo can do. We'll continue to talk Book and Green after our final break. Speaking of the Suns, why not talk about the official credit union of the Phoenix Suns, the exclusive home of the Suns card, that is Mountain America Credit Union. You can pair that Suns card with a debit account that has My Style checking to unlock extra benefits like telehealth access, mobile phone protection, restaurant deals, loan rate discounts, identity protection, offer on travel and events, and so much more. Or you can go over into the credit card realm of things. No annual fees on all their credit cards and available as low rate, cashback, or rewards cards options. Options are the theme over at Mountain America Credit Union that opened in the 1930s, has 100 plus branches across Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Montana, and Nevada with over 1.2 million members across those 100 plus branches. Whatever your financial situation needs, Mountain America Credit Union is here for you. Visit macu.com/Suns to learn more. Insured by NCUA. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Loans are on approved credit.
Have you guys ever been in a serious car accident?
Yes.
Thankfully, no.
I was in one with my family a little while back, and I didn't do my research when it came to getting a lawyer. I went with a guy that my chiropractor knew and just thought, okay, well, this is paint by numbers, right? I couldn't have been more wrong, and I wish at the time I had known about the husband and wife law team, because Mark and Alexis Breyer and their entire staff will take care of you, and they have your best interest in mind, where in my case it wasn't. It was about how much can this lawyer get paid out of the whole deal. And the best part about the husband and wife law team is they call Arizona and Phoenix in particular home because they've raised their 8 children here. So it means something to them, and they focus on results and giving back to the community, which is something that you want. So let's face it, if you've been in a serious accident and you have an injury, you want to hire an attorney that's focused on your best outcome. And I can tell you that for a fact, and that's the husband and wife law team. Highly recommend that you check them out today. If you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at husbandandwifelawteam.com.
I want everybody to put on their hypothetical helmets here. Hit that like button while you're doing it. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're a member today as well. Look, I get that this conversation is a lot of conjecture and it's a lot of guessing and it's been one game, but let's just have some fun. It's Friday. Let's kick our shoes off. Let's relax and let's just do a little
no free feed.
Let's just do a little barbershop talk, okay? I'm going to throw out some backcourts and you tell me whether you would right now for the current and for the next 5 years rather have Devin Booker and Jalen Green or rather have that pair of 2 individuals.
Okay.
For the next 5 years. Okay? Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves.
Luka and Austin.
That's a given.
I agree. We're starting off. We're starting off easy here. Okay. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort.
That one's easy as well.
Yeah, it's Shai.
Okay. Tyrese Halliburton and Ryan Nembhard. Ryan on the Mavs.
I think that one's easy because Nembhard might not have the offensive talent that Devin or Jalen has, but he showed the ability on the playoff stage to step up in his role and his defense remained what it was, which was absolutely elite. So I err on that one for having seen the way it works out and how they respond to adversity and things like that on the playoff stage. So for now, that one is it.
You and I differ on that because of the injury to Halliburton. I don't know how he's going to come back or what he's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I would go Booker and Green, especially for the next 5 years, because you don't know what that injury will cause long term.
I am going to roll with Booker and Green on this one. I just think that the secondary ceiling is much higher with Jalen Green. Now, a big part of this is when you look 5 years from now, Devin Booker is going to be 34 years old, right? Tyrese Halliburton will be post-Achilles injury, but will be much younger than Devin Booker. So that is also something to keep in mind here. But 5 years from now, Jalen Green presumably, hopefully, will be in his prime at 28 years old.
Yeah, you just don't know how a guy's going to react to an Achilles. I mean, that's
true.
the reality. An Achilles injury can cause all sorts of problems and can zap athleticism completely.
Especially for guards.
Yes.
5 years from now, Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, or Devin Booker and Jalen Green?
What was Jalen
Brunson, I think, is 28.
So
He's about a year younger than Book.
So it'd be 33.
How well do we think Jalen Brunson's game ages compared to Devin Booker's? And how good would Mikal Bridges be compared to Jalen Green in 5 years?
Yeah, I think Jalen has a higher ceiling than Mikal. I think that's an easy layup. So I err on Booker and Green being better than those two in 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's tough because if I'm looking in the next 2 years, it's probably the Knicks pairing. If I'm looking that back end, those final three, I probably go Booker and Green because Green's potential is so high as he enters that prime, and we know Book's game's going to age well. It's not a game predicated on athleticism or having that much more burst than a guy. It's just playing smart basketball, getting to your spots, finding open shots. So I think I'll lean towards Booker and Green, but if I had to make an immediate decision, it'd probably be the next group.
I think even an immediate decision, and you and I talked about this a lot. I even went on some Knicks podcasts this summer to talk about Jalen Brunson versus Devin Booker. I think Jalen Brunson and Devin Booker are pretty close to each other when it comes to the pantheon of NBA stars right now. I will still take Devin Booker over Jalen Brunson. I think that if you're telling me for the next 2 years, I can either have Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges or Devin Booker and Jalen Green. I think just because of the potential, 5 years from now, Green, his potential's through the charts. Again, we saw one game, but just in general from what we saw in Houston and what we saw as far as what system he'll be implemented in here, there's a chance that the leap is now for Jalen Green over the next 2 years. Sure, he has stuff he can get better on, but Mikal Bridges has a very clear offensive ceiling, right? And he's a great defender, but the ceiling with Jalen Green, the dynamic playmaking alongside Devin Booker, who I think Book will get better playing with Jalen Green, which is also a scary thought as well. I would go with Booker and Green over Brunson and Mikal right now and over the next 5 years. But that's me personally. I know I lean a lot more, biased and whatnot, but I really am trying to look at it from a neutral perspective. It's close, just as I think Brunson and Book are close, but I'm going to lean with Brunson and Green for the now.
You're going to say that even when after Brunson and Bridges go to the finals this year? They lead the Knicks to the finals.
That's a different conversation.
I mean, they made it to the Eastern.
They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals,
and Mikal Bridges' defense is going to continue to be stellar. I think, like we talked about, that's the other half of the equation. That's just why over the next 2 years I take it. Plus, Jalen Brunson is clutch, and there's no denying that he's going to hit those big shots. That all that comes into play for me.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree. I don't think that's it.
The other part for me is, and that's why, I want to acknowledge how different Jalen looks in just one game with the Suns versus how things look for the last handful of years with the Rockets. He still has sustainability and consistency questions to answer. Will his consistency on offense in terms of production be to the extent of Mikal's? And I ask that because, yes, people ask for more from Mikal, But one thing you never have had to ask for from him is the defense. His defense is always going to be borderline all defensive second team type of impact, which can get potential-wise as high as first team if he's on his P's and Q's any given night. Does Jalen have another, if his scoring is not hitting to the prolific standpoint, does he have another piece that he can lean into to still provide impact so that his consistency doesn't feel like it's dropped off simply off of whether the ball went in enough or not?
I think that's a big emphasis on his playmaking. I think defensively it's going to be hard to find another guard that you're going to put on the same level as Mikal Bridges,
And
but
I think that's an advantage for him.
it's definitely an advantage for them. I think with Jalen, if he can leverage a lot of this gravity when he has off nights, and this will help with his consistency, not feeling like he has to force it, to turn that into playmaking, that's where that second layer comes into play. I mean, you have Devin Booker, who maybe is the best guard at balancing those two things right now, averaging 30, but still being one of the best playmakers. After Luka. We don't even talk about Luka.
I don't know nobody clipping and saying, oh my God, these guys think Devin Booker is better than Luka.
Look at PHNX Suns podcast. Shouldn't be a surprise. No, I think Book obviously is in that lane. I don't think Jalen Green ever gets to the playmaking level that Book is, but I think he has a playmaking leap to take. And I do think some of the changes that we hope he made out of his game, those questions will hopefully be answered this year, and hopefully those answers are in a good direction instead of a bad direction.
I think it's that hope why I'm saying in the present, these 2 years, I know what that Knicks backcourt does. But over those back 3 years, I think that this duo will be better in the long run.
5 years from now, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, or Devin Booker and Jalen Green?
I don't know.
That's like a modern two-door coupe sports car versus like a late 2010s, early 2020s two-door sports car.
So which one you picking?
We haven't seen it with either one, so it's honestly a dice roll. I would go with, because I'm going with Devin and Jalen.
Woo!
I'm going with Devin and Jalen for the next 5 years.
5 years.
Just because Edgecombe still has a lot to learn. He's behind where Jalen is on that. And I think neither one of Edgecombe and Maxey have what Devin Booker has. So for the next 5 years, I think it's that. But Jalen's got to hold up his end of that deal to stave those other two off, because they're right there.
Yeah, I'm there with you. And I also think you take the factor that those two guys are in Philly.
It's fair.
And
it's fair.
That seems like a place that young talent can pop real bright and then disappear real quick at times. So I'll take Booker and Green over them.
Tyrese Maxey this season, just for reference, first in points per game. Obviously, Luka doesn't qualify in this. 33.5 points per game, 7th in assists, 8.5 assists per game. So we talk about Devin Booker averaging 30 and getting 8 assists. Well, guess what? Tyrese Maxey's doing it right now. Also getting 5 rebounds per game and shooting 47.8% from the field. He's really good. I think if you do pick Maxey and Edgecombe, which I think this is close because I am a believer in both of these players, I will go with Book and Green. But if you do pick Maxey and Edgecombe, it's not just because Maxey has arrived right now. It's because you think Maxey's play is sustainable and you think VJ Edgecombe is that dude.
He's just getting started.
Maxey
just started being this all-star level guard last season.
Tyrese Maxey's 25.
And it was a lot of it was because of injury, and they said, okay, gotta put the ball in somebody's hands. Nick Nurse is like, here you go, do your thing. Paul George out, expected so. Joel Embiid was out, expected so last season. Do what you do, and he did a lot of that. He's still getting better. That's very scary.
They have the second highest offensive rating too. Like that. If they stay healthy, that's going to be a scary offensive duo for a while.
Yeah. Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo, or Jalen Green and Devin Booker?
For the next 5 years?
Next 5 years.
It's the Suns, guys.
I would take the Suns guys right now.
You think Anthony Edwards is still going to be the best player out of that group of 4 players? Is it so Dante DiVincenzo, you're that low? I'm not disagreeing. I'm just asking.
And is the best. DiVincenzo is the worst of those 4. The Suns had the 2 guys in the middle. And it's so good, man.
He's really good.
How's his game going to age, though?
Gracefully. I think
5 years from now, how old is he going to be?
It'll be like 28, 29 in 5 years.
And he showed that he adapts his game by
that's my
incorporating the 3.
Biggest thing, well, the 3 ball is one thing, but past the 3 ball, last season for me in the playoffs, the playmaking. Lakers want to send double teams. He's he's on that same trajectory that Devin Booker has already been on for the last like 4 years now of accepting double teams and playmaking off of those. And then through only a couple games this season already, we've seen him be in the lab with Michael Jordan having conversations about how to leverage the post. That's what players. He's in his athletic prime. He's not using it to extend his prime. He's using it at the very beginning of his prime. So putting all of that in tandem with him being a above average defender when he's locked in doesn't get enough attention for that. And then the other part of it, him being one of the 3 best or 4 best clutch players in the league. Yeah. That's a lot to deal with for someone that is barely scratching the surface of their potential.
Yeah, I think the bigger concern is, do they pair him with a better second?
Yeah.
No, that's a great
member.
Absolutely.
If it's DiVincenzo, yeah.
Absolutely.
If it's Anthony Edwards and then fill in the blank,
yeah,
you might go with fill in the blank. Anthony Edwards, by the way, obviously he's missing some time with injury.
He's 24?
Yes, he's 24. Okay. He just turned 24.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey will be 26 this winter, right? He's 25 now. First game against Portland, 41 points in 39 minutes.
And the clutch
against
clutch
Portland.
showing, a clutch showing the best defense in the league right now. Right?
Yeah, 14 to 28 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3. Okay.
Jeez.
Anthony Edwards the next game, 31 points in 35 minutes against the Lakers. After that, 5 points in 3 minutes, and then 15 points in 29 minutes. So when you look at his averages for the year, which obviously I think is weighted poorly because half of those games, like he played 29 minutes in that game against New York as well, and now he's out. 23 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game. It is the assist, though, 2.8 assists per game. I know he proved it in the playoffs that he could make some high leverage decisions, but over the span of a regular season in the playoffs, he does need to up his playmaking. But I do believe if he played with a better backcourt mate, that would be a lot better.
I think the same conversation we had with Devin about early in the season, guys not knocking down shots, but them liking the shot quality that they were getting from his passes. He could be easily averaging 5 if their guys are knocking down shots to the extent that their talent suggests. Nas Reed, plus 3-point shooter. Jaden McDaniels, inconsistent but can be a plus. DiVincenzo is a plus. Those things matter.
Legend.
By the way, sorry, Maxey just turned 25. So he just turned 25. I forgot how late into the year we already are.
By the way, Ant's per 36 must be insane given those first 2 games. And then he's had 5 points in 3 minutes in that other game.
All right. I think last one from me here. 5 years. The Spurs or the Jalen Green and Devin Booker. I want to say De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle.
But who of them?
But then you got Dylan Harper that you can throw in there as well. If we want to choose which of those two, I think if you had to realistically say 5, I think if you realistically had to say 5 years from now, the backcourt would not include De'Aaron Fox. It would be Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, most likely. So if we want to take those two and the potential, this is the one besides the 76ers that you'd say is banking the most off of potential, but at least with Maxey, you've seen it for a little bit longer. Then obviously Castle, who was reigning rookie of the year, and Dylan Harper, who's only played a couple of games but has looked really good in his rookie year. What would you choose right now?
I'd take Booker and Green. You've got the known quantity. In Booker, like we talked about, his game will gracefully age. And then I think Jalen Green has the same kind of potential, at least on offensive and in particular scoring as either of those guards in San Antonio. So if I'm betting on the next 5 years, I'm going with Booker and Green.
Yeah, I'm there too, because even with the 4 guards that the Spurs are cycling into their rotation right now, they still have questions that they have to have answered. On the Suns side, you don't have to question what Devin and Jalen are doing. You can question some of the efficiency within it, but you don't have to question what the output is going to be with it, because just the way that the 2 rosters are set up. So the steady-handedness of the Suns group I lean more towards than the Green Spurs crop of guards.
What I'm taking away from this conversation with all of us and from people in the chat who seem to agree with a lot of who we are taking over who is that the Suns backcourt is in a really, really good spot. And this, of course, we're talking about, what could Jalen Green be? Well, what will he be this season? I think is going to be really fun to watch. I do think that there is a chance that by the time we get into December and January and February, if this is sustained over more minutes from Jalen Green and we see this over and over again, I think they're going to be in a conversation for a top 5 backcourt in the NBA this year. Devin Booker is one of the best players in the NBA. Jalen Green has all the potential in the world. Even his biggest doubters know that there's something there potential-wise. If he can tap into that and get to the level that we hope he can, this can be one of the best backcourts in the NBA this year. But even beyond that, looking at the next couple of years, the Suns' backcourt's an exciting place.
Yeah, I have PTSD because we're in the land of where potential can be the biggest four-letter word.
Sure.
That scares me, right? I want to get my hopes up high after those 32 minutes last night. I want to scream from the rooftop that this is going to be a top 5 backcourt and that everything is right with the world because you found that 23-year-old that can grow into a star next to Devin Booker. But history has taught me to be a little bit guarded, and I'm a little bit guarded right now.
I'm not reading your full name, but Cosby in the chat says, isn't this the crew that hated the Green Booker backcourt when the trade for KD went down? I'll raise my hand. I did. I was not a fan of it, but spending time over the last couple of months looking at film and then looking at potential fit, believing in what Jordan Ott can do, I feel a lot better about it now than I did when it happened. So
I never said I hated it.
you've been the biggest Jalen Green believer.
Correct. What I did say, though, is that I would value getting 1 or 2 of Eason and Smith Jr. over bringing in Jalen. That was what I said in particular. Now, I acknowledge that Jalen is a talent and that he would look significantly better next to someone like Devin, but also in a completely different team scheme, like we talked about to open the show. But 2 things can be true within that. I can acknowledge that Jalen would be good, but I imagine with a wing-heavy team, and the best version of Devin Booker we've seen is Booker plus wings that do a lot of things. That's the kind of mindset that I was looking at with that.
Yeah, I wasn't on the show, so so I can hide behind that.
I'll say it real
Not
quick
me.
though. I would not. I've said it before. I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen and Devin combined average 45 to 47, 48 points this season. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, I think
all.
they could average 50.
Or probably at 50, like 53, 54. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Because
I
I'm
mean,
thinking Jalen can get as high as 26 and a half. And I think Devin can get as high as 32, 33.
but can those two things happen at the same time?
I think
is the real
so.
question.
Can
We
it
have
happen
to-
with
we have to
Dylan
see
Brooks?
it.
Sure,
We have to
shots,
see it.
though.
Sure. Well,
Also
yeah,
true.
and that's
Also
obviously
true.
a big factor in all of this. And I
Yeah.
think what's so encouraging about last night is it didn't feel like Jalen Green just got hot. Obviously he did, right? But it felt like everything kind of came to him naturally. It felt like him and Book naturally fit together. You know, when Book has played with great players and it's worked, like Chris Paul, that was like off rip. You're like, you could tell that something was there, right? When he played with KD off rip, you could tell that something was there. When he played with Jalen Green off rip, you could tell that something was there. They just are a good ebb and flow. And I really appreciated seeing that from them. And it made me more confident in what we could see. The thing is, a lot of this also hinges for me off of the belief that I have in Jordan Ott, right?
Yes.
And the system around that. If we had Jalen Green and Mike Budenholzer, but look at what Jordan Ott's been able to get out of Grayson Allen. Look at what he's been able to get out of Royce O'Neal. I think Ryan Dunn has still had a good season, right? Devin Booker is having the best start that he's ever had in his career when he's been a notorious slow starter, and that's with only playing 1 game with Jalen Green. I'm banking on him being a massive part of the equation for the future of that backcourt and for this team, which is, again, another thing that I've changed my opinion on from when it happened in the offseason. It's almost like it's good when you can grow and evolve and change your opinions off of what you thought months ago.
Yeah, weren't you the guy that hated Ott and Brian Gregory?
I was.
I'm
And
just
guess
giving
what?
you shit.
I said they could still be good.
Like I
And
said,
they're cooking.
like I always say about anybody, it's okay to have an opinion, admit you're wrong, and learn from making yourself more informed. That's what I want to see out of anybody. I like everybody act like I'm right all the time. I'm not. But what I do is pay attention to where I was wrong, apply the information learned, and make yourself more informed.
That's
the job.
thing. Yeah.
That's the job. It's literally the job.
Intake information, adjust
Right.
anything
Absolutely.
that comes once you get to know it. I
Absolutely.
understand that's 100% the way it should be.
If you are watching on TV,
Should.
if you are watching on TV, the party always continues over at gophnx.com. It's time for overtime. But of course, if you're on YouTube, don't go anywhere. If you're listening on audio, don't change anything. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and of course, hit that 5-star review button as well. Or you could become a member today like Jeff, like Sean, and like Deborah, who get access to exclusive emojis in the chat. I will say the final thing on all of that is, you know, when you are presented with new information, i.e. watching basketball games or getting to actually know Jordan Ott or Brian Gregory and seeing their moves, like that initial fear, my initial fear with Jalen Green, there's still a part of that that's in it, right? The initial fear with Brian Gregory, there's still a part of that that's in it. I think Jordan Ott's really the only one where I'm like, I feel so confident about that dude just because hearing all the great things people have said about him and watching him in action and hearing his answers in pre and post game and availabilities, like I'm so confident in him. With Green, there's definitely a side where we're going to be talking about this in December, and it's like, man, Green, 5 of 24 tonight from the field. Like, what went wrong? As long as those are few and far in between, I see lots of really good things happening for this tandem.
Yeah, I need to see how Jalen Green and this team with him on the court react to some disappointment, to getting punched in the face metaphorically at some point, and how do they respond? Because that shows you a lot about it too. It's real easy to be in a flow and have all this energy in game one and everything's falling. But what happens when you go through that quarter where you missed 4 shots and the offense isn't running the right way? How do you handle that? How do you bounce back? How do you respond? Even if it's a couple games that you're having a rough slug, how do you respond? I want to see that as well, because that will tell us a lot about the mentality and how they'll be able to perform as a duo also.
Yeah. I think that's largely why I'm confident, cautious, but confident about what they've established, because we've seen them do that without Jalen and without Dillon Brooks involved multiple times to result in wins. And without Dillon, but looking at last night, they had, 9 points in the second quarter?
Yeah, it was bad.
Rough quarter.
So in one game, you see a high of highs in the first quarter, 31 points. Second quarter, they only scored 9. Third quarter, they come out, adjust, like you talk about in real time. They get hit in the face, come back in the third quarter, and drop 40. So I think that's something that they definitely have up their sleeve, but they have to show it in a sustainable manner.
So they had 17 points, but I believe, and I can check it right now, I believe in the second quarter there was only 6 field goals made.
4 assists, 6 field goals made.
Yeah, which is just really bad. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm seeing 5 field goals made in the fourth quarter.
Second quarter.
In the second quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not good. Okay, then there it is. There's the other one. Okay, 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was right underneath a bunch of misses. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Any final thoughts on Book and Green before we do a little hoop grid?
Let's keep the excitement with a little cautious optimism as well.
I'll say real quick, I don't know if Jalen's lows will be as low as they were in Houston, because he's not being relied upon in the same way that he is with the Suns. So that should help bridge that gap a little bit.
I agree. And he's 23. Like, he's usually guys
that
just
part too.
get a little better. And maybe
Yeah.
that's one of the things that gets a little better with him. Well, that's going to wrap our current Suns talk. But one of the more exciting little additions that we've added to this program, of course, big shout out to the Freckled Mamba for pushing this and pioneering this, is a little hoops grid. And what I like about Freckled Mamba is he's gone back and looked through the database of hoop grids, and he tries to find ones that are relatively relevant to what the Suns have going on right now. So here's what we're going to do. Everybody put away your devices. We are not looking at the chat, and we are going to dive into a hoop grid here. Ayrton, you want to tell us what the rows and categories are on today's hoop grid?
I mean, there's a little bit of overlap here. Obviously, you can see the Rockets logo and the Clippers logo. So I guess the theme was yesterday. I'll just go with that. The theme was yesterday. On the
Or
top,
tomorrow.
Or tomorrow, yeah. The theme was, we'll do
The
that.
weekend.
The weekend. On the top, we have player of the Clippers, player of the Rockets, player of the Phoenix Suns. On the way down, we have a teammate of Chris Paul, someone who played in the 2010s, and somebody who has had a 100-plus assist season.
So if you're new around here and you don't know exactly what the goal is for this game, is we want to find the most obscure player that fits into every one of these squares. And the more obscure it'll tell you a percentage, the better rating you get. Our goal is to get a diamond, which is the second lowest obscurity rating for each square. So
what's the lowest?
I think it's called a unicorn.
Okay.
And so it's like the weird galaxy looking one in the background. So
we're getting one of those today.
Yeah, let's do it. I think we've gotten one in each of them. Let's do the first row. Let's go top to bottom. So Chris Paul teammate, Los Angeles Clippers. Who's the most obscure that you could think of?
Jared Dudley.
I don't know if that's super obscure.
Spencer Hawes.
Okay.
Byron Mullins.
I like Spencer Hawes.
think
Where would
Mullins is a
what about Willie Green? Okay, a diamond. Do we want to try Mullins and Green?
Byron Mullins.
See if we can get any lower. That is a good base to start off. That's even better. All right, can we try a little Willie Green? That might be the highest one out of these, but just to see.
Nah, I think Willie.
Oh, what was lower? Boom. Okay, Byron Mullins it is. Okay. Off to a
Shout
good
out
start.
Byron Mullins.
Chris Paul teammate that also played on the Rockets. Now, this does not mean that they played on the Rockets at the same time. It just means that they have once been a Chris Paul teammate and they have once been on the Houston Rockets.
Josh Okogie.
I would say Josh Okogie, but he's currently on the Rockets, so I wonder if that one will be high.
Did Chris Paul and Robert Covington have overlap?
No,
They never played
I don't
together.
think so.
Great pool though. Shout out Proviso West.
Ryan Anderson?
Rhino might be a little too well known.
He
but
might.
he did play. He did.
I just
he
wonder
fits
if
the
they'll like, yeah, okay,
criteria.
he's a gold. That's too high. I want to try. See, I mean, Okogie's on the Rockets now.
Austin Rivers.
Austin Rivers, okay. I like that one. Not Doc, but Austin. Austin's also gold.
All that podcasting has helped Austin.
Let's try Luke Mbamute.
Big Luke Mbamute out.
Shout out Chief.
Still
Wow, that's
Trevor
crazy.
Ariza, probably still gold.
Probably
but
still
Trev's
gold.
probably a gold. Yeah.
Yeah. Suns legend. Silver, even worse. Yikes. What was the other one? I mean, can we just try Okogie? Maybe people don't know that Okogie and Chris played together. That's a galaxy. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I guess people don't realize that they played together on the Suns.
So we should have went with our first instinct.
Yeah, well, there we
right?
go.
It would have been done 3 minutes ago.
Chris Paul, teammate in the Phoenix Suns. Give me Abdel Nader. Abdel Nader. A gold?
Ish Wainwright.
Yeah, Ish. I mean, Ish is a
I
cheat
was
code in
going.
this
I was
for
going
sure.
Langston Galloway.
Oh, okay. We tried a little
Langston's a
Langston.
good
I like
call.
Langston. All-time good dude, Langston Galloway. All right, that's a diamond. Do we have any?
Alfred Payton?
Tyshawn Alexander.
Tyshawn Alexander would go nuts.
yeah.
Yes, please.
That's a good pull right there for sure.
Oh, is he in? Oh, it's Ty with a apostrophe.
There we go.
Wow.
Perfect.
I'm surprised that's not a galaxy.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. Honestly,
People love Tyshawn Alexander.
Is there anybody more obscure
Than Tyshawn Alexander?
from the Suns?
Shaq Harrison? Did they play together?
No.
Nah, they did not.
Uh,
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
No, did they? I don't know if they overlapped though. I think
Ooh,
IT
is that-
came out.
No, that was
after.
later. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
later.
he came afterwards.
later.
Is there?
I feel
Low
like
key,
there's a
Tyshawn Alexander
name.
from like this far away looks like Anthony Simons.
Can we try Jared Dudley?
Yeah, we could try
You
Jared.
can try
Dudley.
duds.
I guess, yeah, it doesn't have to be they played at the same time. Okay, still Galaxy. Is that lower? That's lower than Tyshawn Alexander?
JaVale, try JaVale.
I feel like JaVale would be known. Is that even lower? Okay, it's still Dudley.
There's one.
Any-
There's got to be a name.
I
out
mean, what
there.
about Ryan Anderson?
What about Biz?
I'm just kidding.
Bismack?
Busy, maybe. Maybe.
Did Gerald Green and Chris Paul play together in Houston?
Oh, they did. Yes.
And then Gerald Green.
They brought him
played
in on a
here?
10-day. He turned it into the rest of the season.
So,
Yep.
Is that a 1%?
Wow.
Still higher? Man, Jared Dudley's still the
Dudley's
lowest. Yeah, I think we just roll with
Yeah.
Dudley. All right, that's the Chris Paul row complete. We've got Byron Mullins, Josh Okogie, Jared Dudley. I think a great row, gentlemen. Played in the 2010s and played for the Clippers.
Baron Davis is probably too
Yeah.
obvious.
Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, Eric Bledsoe. I wonder if people remember the good years. No, it's still a diamond.
Jordan Farmar.
Oh, Farmar for sure. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm good with that one.
Yeah.
Okay, if y'all good with it.
Rockets and played in the 2010s.
2010 Rockets.
Again, they didn't have to be on the Rockets in the 2010s. They just had to play on the Rockets and have played in the 2010s.
Rayford Austin.
Ooh. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Austins.
ALSTON.
Ooh. Oh, did he play
Wow.
till 2009?
Oh, okay. Aaron Brooks.
Yeah, Aaron Brooks. Goated.
Shout out Oregon.
Oh, what about Aaron?
Oh,
what about
wow.
Aaron Holiday?
I like Aaron
Did
Holiday.
he play in 2019?
What
Yeah.
about Goran
Yeah.
Dragic?
Okay, Aaron
I like
Holiday,
Aaron
diamond.
Holiday for sure.
Dragic. God. All-time goats.
Hmm.
Bang, even lower.
Okay.
Are we good with that? I feel like
Steve
we could
Francis
get
was
more.
playing the
There's a name.
2010s.
There's a name on the tip
I
of my
feel like
tongue.
we could get more. obscure.
Terrence
Carter?
Davis.
No. Terrence Davis? Yeah, Terrence Davis.
Terrence
was a player.
Davis. Terrence Davis.
Terrence Davis. Yeah, he played.
I can't remember if it's ENCE or ANCE.
I believe Terrence Davis did play. Apparently not. All right.
Okay.
Suns in 2010s. This needs to be a gang. Jalen LeCue.
No, look.
Yeah, LeCue played in 19.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Is he not even on it?
Suns in 2010s. Was Shannon Brown here?
Shannon
Bang.
Brown was
2010s?
here. What the hell was his name? Little guard from Utah Valley University. Played point guard. Not Ish Smith, but the hell, Ronnie Price.
That's a good
Or
one.
Sonny Weems.
That's a good one.
Sonny, my boy. I love Sonny Williams.
See if Sonny Weems is a Galaxy. Dang, no.
Wow.
Oh, there's got to be. Alec Peters. Dude, don't sleep. Dude.
Alan Williams.
How is Alec Peters not a... Jeez. There's got to be a Galaxy, man.
Jimmer was never here.
He was.
Jimmer
stopped booked
Yeah,
from
but-
getting like 60. Chris Humphries.
Oh.
I was there for his debut.
Danny Granger. Most
How are
people
none
don't
of these
remember-
Galaxies?
I'm looking
played
up
for the
this.
Suns.
Terrence Davis name is still
It's still
killing
bugging.
me.
I swear Terrence
I'm
Davis
double
is a
checking
player.
the spelling to see.
This one's got to be a Galaxy, man. This is a Suns podcast.
2010s for the Suns.
Sonny Weems is in a Galaxy. Jalen LeCue's not a Galaxy.
Kendall Marshall.
That's
Still
a good
diamond.
Davon Reed.
Davon Reed, good pull. Okay, that's better than a Galaxy. Okay, no, it's not better than a Galaxy. It's better than a...
The Rockets one in the
Diamond.
middle real quick. It's Terence. Davis, yeah.
No. Dang.
Never mind.
All right, so that is in between Unicorn, which is what a Kogi is, and Diamond, so it's still better. So I think we're good with that. All right, 100+ assist season played for the Los Angeles Clippers. 100+ assists played for the Clippers.
Austin Rivers.
At any point?
At any point.
Oh, at any point?
At any point.
Okay.
That's a diamond. That's good. You think Elton Brand had a 100 assist season?
Was he healthy enough to get?
That's kind of obviously he's a big
Bill
name.
Walton.
Yeah.
Bill Walton with 100. Yeah, Bill Walton was dishing it. Okay. Yeah, we tried Bill Walton. Still a diamond. Okay.
Try Raymond Felton.
Matt Barnes. I don't know if people think he had 100 assists in a season.
I don't think Matt got to 100.
He did.
Wow. Okay.
Who was the guard that was on the Showtime Lakers that they unceremoniously dumped to the Clippers? He was a diva. He and Magic didn't get along. What the hell was his name?
From the 90s?
No, it was
Or
from
the 80s?
80s. It was that 81. He was there from 79 until the early 80s with him. God, I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
He started?
I think I got an idea who you're speaking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Technically, could somebody from the Buffalo Braves qualify? Because
Bob
of
McAdoo?
history?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a
Shout out Mac.
McAdoo. Yeah, because people won't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bob McAdoo. Goated. It's a gold.
Mm.
I'd say like one more guess in this and then we'll move on.
100 assists as a Clipper. Did Josh Smith ever get to 100 assists? I don't think he ever.
Did Smush play for them after he played for the Suns?
Josh Smith. Let's roll. Is that like what,
Okay.
10% or 0.10%? Yeah, we'll roll Josh Smith. Rockets, 100+ assists in a season.
Vernon Maxwell.
Mhm.
Shout out Mad Max.
He's a great,
Emphasis on
great
the
follow.
Mad.
Great follow on Twitter. All right, that's a good
I
one.
like that.
You know it's good when they don't even have the photo.
Yeah. Mario Ellie. You think he got 100 assists in a season? Just
Probably.
somehow? Okay, I think this one's a little bit higher.
Aaron Brooks. I'm trying him again.
Ralph Sampson.
I think Ralph got 100 assists. He might have. The original Wemby.
Did Charles ever get 100 assists with the Rockets?
I don't know. At the
Well, it
end.
doesn't have to be with the Rockets, just overall in their career.
Oh, just overall. Okay.
Barkley. Okay, still a diamond. Let's do one more guess here.
Obscure players with over 100 assists.
I mean, we
in
can
a
get
season.
way more obscure.
John Wall.
Clinton. No, there's no way Clinton had 100 assists in a season.
Jock Landale.
You don't think so?
Did
You think
Jock
Clinton? I mean,
have
you can put
100
in Clinton.
assists last year? Humor me. Try Jock. I don't know how many
There's
assists
no way
he
Jock had
last year.
100 assists, dude.
So does anybody
That's
that got
over
to
an
100
assist per
assists?
game
All
and
right.
playing all 82. There's somebody more. There has to be somebody more obscure. There has to be. Patrick Beverley?
You think that's more obscure?
No.
Wait. Does anybody? It doesn't have to be a Rocket.
If they had to have played at the Rockets at one
Right.
time
That's
and
what I
at one
thought.
time at 100 plus assists in a season.
Okay.
Kinda
Pablo
decent.
Prigioni.
They got his coach's headshot.
Yeah,
That's
they do.
funny.
Ryan Anderson?
Dude,
Rhino.
I'm a Ryan
Yeah,
Anderson
Rhino ain't never-
believer.
Yeah, he ain't
No,
get
he
to
don't pass
100
the ball.
assists.
He don't
Definitely
pass the
not.
ball.
Shout
All
out
right,
Rhino.
let's stick with was Pablo the lowest?
Pablo.
Yeah, I'll stick with Pablo Prigioni. All right, last one here. Again, once we guess, this is the final one that we can do. The grid is completed. We have to make sure it's a diamond.
Alfred Payton.
Alfred Payton, 100. Do we think that might be gold?
I'm not sure if it'll
Kendall
be.
Marshall. He got to it.
Kendall had to have got to it for
Okay,
sure.
Kendall Marshall.
Kendall's in the mix.
Do we have any more like obscure players, like older players? That we
Kyle
can do?
Macy.
Kyle Macy. I think Kyle Macy is for sure diamond.
Hold on. There's Gail Goodrich. Most
Gail,
people wouldn't
yeah.
remember he played for the
Charlie
Suns.
I was
Scott.
just saying Archie.
Archie Goodwin. Archie Goodwin.
Charlie Scott. I feel like Charlie Scott definitely had 100 assists in a season.
Yeah, but he's a whole. I mean,
Yeah, I just don't think people
I guess
associate it with the
people- I mean,
Suns.
that's
I think
fair.
Kyle Macy is
I was
definitely.
gonna throw Boris out there.
Alvin Adams. Most people probably have zero clue.
You want to try
who
Alvin Adams? Because not only is he
He's a
more obscure, but
big-
he's a big
But
That's
he's
why I was
one-
looking at
one
the
of
Boris.
assist leaders.
Alvan with an A. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's a
There
diamond.
you go.
A unicorn, a galaxy, and all diamonds. Not too bad.
Can you try another one just to see
Yeah.
what a Kyle Macy would have been? Like we don't have to.
Mhm.
I'm surprised there are other people who picked Alvin Adams. Oh, it would have been a galaxy.
Yeah.
We'll just roll with that. We're just gonna say that was it then. That was it. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for a daytime edition of PHNX Suns. Always love throwing in a little hoops grid. Something fun there. We'll do Otto next time. Next 3 p.m.
You're
show.
ducking me on auto.
We'll get a little Otto in there. Reminder, pregame, postgame show tomorrow, I believe, is a later tip-off, so make sure you spend
8:30.
your Saturday night with us. 8:30 tip-off, which means 8 pregame, and of course, postgame will be later on a Saturday. You can
Take a pregame nap.
be like Jalen Green.
Be like Jay.
I'm gonna be so excited I won't be able to take my pregame nap.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure when you're subscribed, you can also turn notifications on to know whenever we do go live. I know some people forget that we do 3 p.m. shows during the season, so you'll always know. Plus, make sure you keep your eyes tuned to your video feeds on PHNX Sports because a new film session on Jalen Green done by, of course, Steven will be hitting that timeline soon.
And shout out Ayrton for that too.
Ayrton always putting in that work behind the scenes. You can follow us at PHNX_Suns. That's on Twitter and on Instagram for fun, plus all the news and notes that you need and up-to-date real-time on the Suns, all in one place at PHNX_Suns. Show the Freckled Mamba some love at Freckled Mamba on socials. Of course, you can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That's Steven with the PH, bringing you up-to-date notes from practice, shoot-around, pregame, postgame, everything all at StevenPG3. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. You can follow Espo at Espo.
Ahoy ho.
We all silly like the mayor.